essentially what will happen this year for herds participating is they will be genotyping their cows and their replacements. This will be done through button tags, and that will be free of charge. That will be paid for by the department essentially. And then the years after that, so 2024 onwards, because all your cows will be genotyped, you'll then start genotyping your calves at birth.
Hello and welcome to the Beef Edge, the Teagasc Beef Podcast, for all your latest news, information and advice for Irish beef farmers. I'm Catherine Egan, and on this week's episode, as the Department of Agriculture, Food and the Marine have agreed funding for the National Genotyping Programme, I'm joined by Gearóid Slattery, Business Analyst with ICBF, to discuss the new programme. Gearóid, you're very welcome. Ireland will become the first country in the world to provide DNA verified traceability system. Can you tell me more about it?
Yeah, so look, through this program, we will be the world first to have this 100% DNA traceability, which will be of huge benefit to our agri industry in terms of traceability and marketing and that kind of thing. I suppose this program, it's a 5-year program. So year 1, 2023, will be funded by the department. So genotyping will be free. And then in the years after 2024 onwards, it'll be a cost sharing model is the way it will work. So I suppose the benefits of the program are for farmers as well as industry. So that's why it's been using this cost sharing model. So the department will pay a third, the farmer will pay a third, and the industry will pay a third. So the beef and dairy industry will both contribute. And it's because of these benefits around having this full traceability, enhanced rates of genetic gain, better marketing, all that kind of thing. That's why everybody's rowing in behind this program to try and make it a success. And essentially, the long-term goal is to genotype the entire national herd. To have every animal born in the national herd is genotyped at birth. That's really the goal of the program.
You mentioned there, Gearóid, that the first year of the programme is covered. How much will it cost for the following years?
Yeah, so 2023 is free. So essentially what will happen this year for herds participating is they will be genotyping their cows and their replacements. This will be done through button tags, and that will be free of charge. That will be paid for by the department essentially. And then the years after that, so 2024 onwards, because all your cows will be genotyped, you'll then start genotyping your calves at birth. And I suppose the cost for the farmer will be €4 will be the cost of the genotype, and then you're talking probably €1 for postage and the tag. So the tag they'll be using will be a double tissue tag. So each year we'll leave a sample. That'll be about another euro extra compared to the regular tag. So it'll be about €6 a calf is what it'll cost the farmer from 2024 onwards, and all their cows and replacements this year will be done for free.
So this year the breeding stock, such as the cows, heifers, any followers and bulls, they're all covered. And then for the next 2 to 5 years, all calves on the farm. So there's no exceptions really. All stock will have to be genotyped.
Yeah, so there's no exceptions for the next 4 years from 2024. Every calf born on the farm will be genotyped at birth. So instead of using normal national tags, you'll use these double tissue tags where each year leaves a sample. So when the calf is born, you tag the calf. 1 year is your BVD sample, and the other year will be your DNA sample, and that's what will be used for the genotyping.
As well, a lot of farmers are in the SCEP scheme. How will this affect participants joining this programme?
Yeah, so for anyone who's participating in SCEP or the suckler scheme, I would strongly advise that this program will be ideal for those herds. So I suppose for them, they're already genotyping as part of SCEP, and I suppose a lot of farmers, they're used to getting out the button tags in the post in the middle of the year and having to bring cattle in and all that kind of thing to genotype them. This essentially can do away with some of that. That instead of getting these button tags out in the middle of the year, you'll be genotyping your calves at birth. So you'll do that at birth instead. And those samples you take at birth, they will count towards your genotyping requirement in SCEP. So for example, if you've a suckler herd in SCEP that has a reference number, let's say of 10, so they must do 7 genotypes every year. So essentially what will happen is the first 7 calves born next year on the farm, them samples will count towards SCEP, and it's just anything beyond that 7 born next year that they will pay the €4 for, basically, for the genotype.
That's great. So it's really the 70% genotyping requirement that will be covered for in SCEP.
Correct, yeah. That 70% genotyping, that basically the first 7 samples, or the 70% of the calves samples that you send in, they'll be covered by SCEP. The farmer won't be be, I suppose, paying for them. He'll just be paying his €4 for any calves after that by direct debit, essentially. And look, it's very good, in terms of labour saving and health and safety, because farmers are already tagging the calves, so it just makes sense just to do it at that point as well. To tag the calf, get your sample, rather than getting tags later in the year and having to bring in cattle and the work involved. And farmers, it's difficult to get help on farms to bring cattle in, to run them through crush, to tag them, and then they're tagging animals when they're older, and there's kind of safety risks with that, and possibly tearing the ears and fragmented land. Farmers are well used to the problems that that's associated with that, and trying cattle in different batches. So for any farmers in the suckler scheme in SCEP, I think it'll be a massive opportunity for them to join this program. Their SCEP will still be looked after through it, and just tag your animals at birth instead. You're doing it anyway. Get it done at birth, get your sample from your calf, and that'll count towards your SCEP.
I suppose you mentioned there, like tagging the calf at birth. Talk through, farmers will still have to do BVD sampling, and which lab does the DNA sample go? That goes to a different lab to the BVD sample.
Yeah, so I suppose the process for the farmer, when when your calf is born, you have these double tissue tags. They fit in the tagger you have already. So it's just when you're ordering your tags, maybe this autumn for next year, that you'd be ordering double tissue tags instead of just regular tags. And basically, 1 year will leave your BVD sample, the other year will leave your DNA. You put them into little sample bottles. So the BVD is always a white sample bottle, and you send that off to your normal BVD lab, the same as you always have. That doesn't change. And then the DNA sample, that's a little pink bottle. You take that sample and you'll be posting it off to a genotyping lab. Wherever that will be, we'll have to wait for that to be confirmed. But essentially, when the calf is born, tag your calf, send your BVD off as normal, and then you'll be sending your DNA to a specific genotyping lab. You don't send them both to the same lab. That's a really important point, that farmers don't get confused, because that can, if a DNA sample goes to a BVD lab, you might never get it back, or you don't know where it'll end up. So it's very important that if farmers are participating, you tag them at birth, make sure you send the BVD sample to the right place, to your normal lab, and the DNA then will be going to a separate lab.
And what do you expect the time turnaround will be, Gearóid?
Yeah, so the turnaround on the DNA samples, look, I suppose we've been doing this on a pilot basis since 2018. So if we were to look at 2023, we had about 600 herds took part in kind of a pilot program again, and we registered over 50,000 calves this spring. And as part of that, the average turnaround time, or the average time the sample was in the DNA lab, was about just over 3.5 days. So when the farmer sends away a sample, it's in the lab for about 3.5 days, and then we get a genotype result back from the lab.
When will the farmer get the genomic evaluation from the calf then, Gearóid?
Yeah, so I suppose it's in the lab for 3.5 days. So as part of this process, I suppose when the farmer submits the registration details of the calf, what we'll do at that point is, when we get the results back from the lab after the 3 or 4 days, we'll actually check what the farmer has submitted on the registration. And if, for example, there's a change in siren, we'll make the change at that point, or if there's a change in dam. So when the blue card, first of all, arrives out to the farmer, that's being confirmed by DNA. So it saves any mistakes or errors, or farmers having to go and get blue cards changed, that actually, when they submit the registration, the DNA will follow in and confirm the registration before the blue card comes out. So just within a couple of days, you're having that blue card is essentially DNA verified. And then the actual genomic results will flow in after that. So the plan, hopefully going forward, is that we'll have beef genomics about once a week, hopefully, outside of our main runs. So that means within a calf being a couple of weeks old, a farmer will have a full genomic evaluation for that calf.
Great, Gearóid. And you mentioned there the importance of the pilot programme. What was the farmers' experience that took part in the pilot programme since 2018?
Yeah, so look at, I suppose, this whole national genotyping and the program we're developing now for it, that's largely being developed on the experiences and the feedback we've got from farmers in this DNA calf registration pilot. So farmers in that pilot, they were doing exactly as we're describing. They were taking the samples at birth, using double tissue tags, sending away the DNA, and that was being used then to confirm the parentage results for registering the calves. And I suppose the farmers in that program, I suppose, look, it is a slight change in routine in terms of registering calves at birth. Farmers are kind of into a normal routine every year of how they do it. So it is slightly different, because you're taking this additional sample and sending it away. But look at, once farmers kind of got into the routine, they really didn't have any problem with it. For most farmers, within kind of maybe 10 to 12 days of the calf being born, they had their DNA result and they had their blue card, and it was all DNA verified. So farmers that were in it were very happy with it. We've developed it over time and improved it based on their feedback. And I suppose it's based on that and the success of it that we're confident now to roll it out on a large scale.
And for farmers that's listening, how do they join the programme?
Yeah, so for farmers who are interested in joining the programme, look, first of all, you must be doing your calf registrations online, because it will be all online. So for any farmer in Skep, or even farmers outside of Skep who are interested, if you're registering your calves online, you can participate in this programme. And look, the only additional step is you're sending away the additional sample at birth to get them genotyped. And in order to sign up, look, sign-ups will be opening the next week or two. You'll be signing up via the ICBF website. So it'll be available on the mobile, on the computer, tablet, however you access the website, and on our ICBF app. There'll be a button available there that farmers can click to sign up, and they just fill in some details. So you will need direct debit details. So you'll be able to pay your €4 in future for each calf that you have to pay for. And then it's just some basic details, contact details, who your tag supplier is, so that if we're sending out button tags for any cows or heifers, that we send them from the right supplier, so that you actually have a tagger on farm you can use. So yeah, sign-ups will be on the ICBF website, hopefully in the next week or two. It will be on a first come, first served basis. So, and there is kind of a max limit in terms of how many farmers we can take. So I would encourage any farmers that are interested, if you're in Skep, I would suggest, and you're registering calves online, it's a no-brainer. You'll just, it'll just make things more convenient for you, a bit easier, no tagging later in the summer. So any farmers like that, I think would be a great option for. And also any farmers outside of Skep who aren't participating in the suckler scheme. If you're, a pedigree breeder, anything like that, you're probably, doing a good bit of genotyping already for pedigree certs and society sales and that type of thing. It's a great opportunity for those farmers to get their genotyping done at birth and to get it at a much cheaper rate. If you're not in Skep, and you're genotyping privately, you're paying about €22 a sample, while you're talking about €4 a sample in this new scheme, because of this cost sharing model.
Most definitely, Gearóid, it's a great opportunity for a lot of farmers. When is the deadline to apply?
So look, there isn't a hard deadline per se, but it is first come, first serve. And look, it's quite possible it could end up being oversubscribed. So the sooner you apply, the sooner you get your spot, you're in. So I'd be saying it'll open the next week or two. We'll publish and announce it wherever we can, and for farmers as soon as they can, to get their application in. The application process is very simple. We designed it to be as straightforward as possible, that you can do it on your mobile, you can do it on the app, you can do it on a computer, wherever you like. It's just a couple of simple bits you have to fill in, and submit your application, and at least it's in then. So to do it as soon as possible, really.
That's great. Thanks very much, Gearóid.
No bother at all, thank you.
That's all for this week's episode, and my thanks to Gearóid for joining me on the show. You can catch up on all other shows and interviews from the Beef Edge podcast on the Teagasc website at teagasc.ie, or you can listen on Apple and Google Podcasts as well as Spotify. Don't forget to rate, review and subscribe so you never miss a show. For all other updates from our beef programme, keep an eye on our Twitter and Facebook pages. Until next time, I'm Catherine Egan, and thanks for listening.